Welcome to Business Connection. I'm Liz Spencer. We have old friends in the studio that we're welcoming back. We have Mara Gallagher, and she's the music director from Opus, and we have Karen Doe, the executive director of committees, also from Opus. So welcome back. We are so excited. I'm so excited to see you again. So tell me a little bit about Opus and what exciting things you have coming up, and that's mostly the camp.
Well, Opus is in the process of accepting applications for its 14th annual summer camp. We start on Sunday, July 31st, and we will give our final big concerts on August 6th.
That's wonderful. Now, and this is all in the celebration of chamber music.
Yes, indeed. And chamber music is small groups of musicians coming together to play music. So we could be a chamber music group.
We could, if I had any talent. You two are way more talented than I am. But these summer camps, it's the 14th annual, are so unique and one of a kind. Tell me what makes them one of a kind.
Well, Karen, your son was there last year. What was his experience?
Oh, gosh, he loved it. This is an experience that he's never had before because he's always been in a school orchestra group. And so we thought we'd try chamber music, and it was amazing. The program is so high level because the faculty is so committed. And what he found is that when he went to the camp, he practiced this music for about 2 weeks before, and he got to a level where he thought, wow, I've done my job, and this is where I'm going to be. And then what happened is at the camp, that's where the actual hard work begins, because you are in a group with 3 or 4 or 5 different individuals, and you're constantly playing off each other, getting feedback from each other, and you have an instructor who is always there with you during the chamber music practices. And during that hour or so every single day, they're there to give you feedback, interact with you, and also challenge you to do better. So by the end of the 5-day camp, his playing was not just here where he thought it was, but it was way up here because of all the improvements that he made. So it was a very high-level camp for him. He had a really good experience.
That's wonderful. And the instructor's always there, so you have a great student-to-teacher ratio.
We do. It's about 3 students for 1 instructor. And so, the teachers, we meet every day, and we talk about this individual students, and we suggest, well, maybe this group could grow this way, or maybe this other group could move this way, or, maybe sometimes we might even switch it to coaching. So the group is not just coached by one teacher. His group, I'm sure I coached her son, and I think 5 other faculty did as well.
So that's amazing.
And we make notes so that, okay, I did the first half of the first page, so the next person should go ahead. And then we do things like that to keep track of where we are.
Well, I think that's great. We had a wonderful experience with NCTV to be able to go to your camp and see one of the groups that you were coaching. And then we also have been able to present the final concert as a community event, which was absolutely phenomenal. And so going from a person who knew 0 about chamber music until I met you, and not having a great appreciation, to now being a huge fan as an adult. I think, gee, if I were a kid, I would have wanted to sign up for Opus. But I think there's something that unique happens with those kids at that camp. I was amazed with the kids that we met at your group, 2 piano players and a cello, and they came together. They didn't know one another. Is this part of the experience that you're hoping for?
Yes, it's true. Most of our students come from DuPage County. Some come from a greater distance, and sometimes they know each other, sometimes they don't. And I would say it could be quite likely, if you don't play in school orchestra together, say if you did go to school together, you might not even be friends because we just kind of fall into our friends. But then you're placed in a group, and you come with your skills, and all of a sudden you start rehearsing, and you have to work out problems because maybe we're not playing together, and so you have to negotiate. Well, maybe you could play slower, and I'll play, I'll match you, or maybe you should play louder, and I'll play softer. And after working these things out, students find that maybe they have preconceived differences, and they realize they're not so different at all. So the music actually brings them together. And then, when they perform at the final concert, they are so proud because they are well aware of all the work they put into it. So they get up on the stage, they play, and they're so proud. They have their family and friends. It's just a wonderful day.
That's awesome. Who can apply, and how do they apply to be a part of this camp?
Well, ages 8 to 18.
Wow.
And what they do is they need to submit a recording. We have excerpts we want them to prepare. Those are online. Okay. We ask for a solo that represents their level, and they also have to play some scales. And when they have submitted their application, we have a deadline, June 15th. And at that point, we group them. I listen to them, and I meet with the other faculty, and we group them into appropriate ensembles.
Wow, that's great.
Right.
And what's the you mentioned your son was there, but what's the program format? I mean, the 5 days, kind of the format a little bit. So what can we anticipate?
Well, we start the Sunday, actually, with a meet and greet. And I found out from...
And ice cream.
And ice cream.
Always good.
And a concert by our resident ensemble, the Orion Ensemble.
Oh, nice.
And they play for us, so it's a very nice afternoon. And so that starts it out. And then each student also receives a private lesson. And that is so the faculty can make certain that the music seems to be well prepared for the next day's rehearsals, so that we have an advance warning of what we're starting with.
Sure.
Okay, and then on each day of the week you might have 3 or 4 chamber music coachings. You would also have orchestra, and then we have these wonderful arts connections classes, and in those you can either arrange music, like a hit song, anything that's on the radio. You could compose a piece. Or you could do improvisation. It basically means make it up. And I respect those students the most, and the teacher, because it's not my area of expertise.
Okay. And what are some of the benefits from that the student might develop that you wouldn't think, the team development aspect, that you might not assume they would get from a music camp, but they really do?
Oh, gosh. The one thing that's very misunderstood about music is that it's only music. But what's happening between each of the players is that they're interacting. So they're learning a lot of the skills that people need in the workplace. And what that means is that, in school, and Mara and I had talked about this earlier, but in school you're looking at a lot of different academic subjects. Everybody wants to get an A or to go for that, top place on the sports team or something like that. But what ends up happening is that with music, you're focusing on other skills such as teamwork and listening to each other and leadership. And those are the kinds of things that corporations are looking for, and that even closer than that, when you're looking at colleges, they're looking at the ability to work with other people.
I think it's huge. I think you guys are doing so much. So tell me, we got the Chamber Music Camp. It starts July 31st.
Yes.
And the big concert is?
August 6th.
And everything's at Benedictine University?
Except the final concert will be at Wenz Concert Hall in downtown Naperville.
Great. And everybody can find all the information to get involved and apply for it online.
Yes.
Thanks for stopping by, you guys. You do such a wonderful job. I can't thank you enough. It's always a pleasure to have you come in and tell us what's new and exciting in your world. So,
well, thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll be right back with more Business Connections. Stay tuned.